Our trip to Haiti was really exciting. It was quite an adventure. When we first landed in Haiti, we spent the night, and the next day we got up to drive up to Sobier, the little village where we were staying, and the van that we were driving in and the truck broke down 3 times. And a lot of our team members ended up having to walk a good ways to get to the home where we were staying. This village of Sobier is up on a mountaintop. There's no water source, there's no roads to get there, there's only this little gravel kind of trail, and so it's really quite a challenge to get there. We finally got there, and we got to the place where we were staying, and we set up our tents, and we made our home away from home. Sobier is a little village of about 5,000 people. There's a Catholic church, a Methodist church, and a Baptist church there, and there's people who practice voodoo as well. It's a very interesting place, but the only way the people can get water is they have to walk down the cliff, this really rugged, steep trail for 1 mile down and 1 mile back. So it's really quite a long way to get water every day in dry season.
Okay guys, being in Haiti is an amazing experience, exponential growth for sure, spiritually, just as a person. Being embraced by the Haitians with open arms is amazing. I got the opportunity to help carry water from the spring down at the ocean all the way up to the village of Sobier with 4 other girls aging from 7 to 22. And along the way we stopped and shared my beef jerky that I had in my pack, and just got to talk, and I asked them if they knew the Lord, and they did, and they prayed with me, and we just had an amazing church moment right then on the side of the mountain. They took me up and delivered me right to the house where I was staying, Jacob's house, and delivered me very much safely right to where I needed to be. And they went along the way to their home, carrying their life source. And we also had the opportunity to build chicken houses, so that in 3 farmers' families, they have chicken houses now to raise their chickens and gather their eggs, so that they can sustain their families and also sell the eggs to make some money and get other essentials for their life.
One of the challenges in the village of Sobier is that there's a lack of industry, a lack of ways for folks to make money, to provide for just regular everyday needs. So we had this idea that we might teach women to sew, so they'd have something to do during the day, but so they could also help provide for their families. And we imagined that they wouldn't have very many skills at all, so we thought we'd teach really basic stuff: how to thread a needle, how to tie a knot at the end of a thread. And I spent the better part of one afternoon, when some things hadn't worked out and we were waiting around to move on to our next thing, I spent some time making this prototype of what I thought might be a cool drawstring bag that the women could make and then actually use to carry things around the village. Turns out, once we gathered the women for the sewing class, about 10 women came, and some of them brought their younger daughters, and we sat around, and I just started to ask if they had any experience sewing at all. Turns out all of them had sewing experience, and when I asked what they liked to sew, each one of them raised their hand, and almost every single one said they needed to make clothes. So we passed out the supplies that we brought, and each of the women chose their own fabric that they wanted to sew with. I was totally out of my league at this point because I don't know how to sew clothes. So we turned to the women who had experience doing this, and one of them was Madame Jacques. She was also our cook for the trip. Madame Jacques started teaching the other women part of her skill. They cleared off a table that was there in Jacob's yard. They started spreading out fabric, measuring like by eye. They could see exactly how big a piece of fabric they needed. And Madame Jacques started cutting and preparing clothing for each of the women to sew on their own. So she gave each woman the makings of a skirt, and each woman went to a different place in Jacob's yard and started sewing. By the end of maybe 45 minutes, each woman had a tailored skirt ready for her to wear, and they also started to make some other things out of the leftover material. It was amazing. What I learned from that, obviously, is that whereas I thought I was going to bring in something to teach them, whereas I thought I was going to be the teacher in the situation, it was really Madame Jacques who taught the other women and prepared for them.
One of the best parts about this Haiti trip was that we got to provide a meal for the community. And the community is the one who prepared it for them. All we did was pay for it. They cooked it over an open fire all day. And when it was finally ready, the children were clamoring to get inside and just fighting over rice and beans. And when they finally did get in, there wasn't enough for everyone. So one child who did get food came out and shared it with two of his friends. And it was incredible because no matter how hungry he was, he wanted to share it with someone that he loved.
In Haiti, there's very limited access to health care, especially living in a village. There's no transportation to get to Doctors Without Borders. So we provided a wound clinic, and we cleaned out mainly just basic scrapes, but they don't have the basic first aid knowledge to clean out a scrape or the clean water to do so. So when we got everything cleaned out, we found out that there were still a lot of infections within those scrapes, and in Haiti, infection can lead to death. We were also helping Jason and Ronaldo, who were the two guys that they were really our protectors while we were there, and they led us around. They were there learning everything, and they, I think when we left, could have easily taken over the first aid for their village.
Okay, so I helped with the wound clinic with Marcus and Jean Ann, and we helped about 65 people who had anything from a scrape to a headache, and most of the time the scrapes were minor, but it had become really infected because the dirt around there would be their clotting agent. So we would scrape it out, clean it out, and get them a nice Band-Aid. And then we even had kids who would come in and pick off a scab just so they could get a Band-Aid. So most of the time we just spent loving on the kids and making sure were getting care they needed.
We ate Mamba spicy peanut butter, spaghetti for breakfast,
Rice and beans, a purple root that they said was okra.
Scrumptious goat.
Pickly, which is a spicy slaw.
Guys, I was so moved by the way the matriarch and the host family really embraced us and just showed us immense love.
I was so moved and impressed by the resiliency of the people of Haiti. In a place where there are not a lot of resources, everybody just pitches in and does what they need to survive.
What really got me is the all-consuming joy that these people had in the simple parts of their life.
I was really moved by everybody that was willing to grab our hands and lead us and just hug us and show us love.
I was really moved by the way that a mother trusted me to hold her daughter while she was in the sewing class and rock her to sleep while she napped.
I was moved by getting the opportunity to lead worship and preach and serve communion to the community. It was really a moving worship service. And on behalf of all of us on the Haiti team, we just want to say thank you to all of you who supported us.
Thank you.